Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. Happy New Year again. Today, we're going to get into another topic, and the title is Healing and Addressing the Elephant in the Room. So, guys, I hope you had a great day. Some days the messages are going to be light and may not resonate with you, and other days they will be intense and will resonate with many of you. So let's jump in. I wanted to say before I get into this topic of discussion that yesterday was difficult, me telling a story. I was on almost, I realized about an hour. I wanted to cover some more things, but it was just the video was too long. Speaking out truths is what's happening here as I go through this healing process. And as I speak out those truths, it reminds me of the Bible where it says, what is in the dark shall be exposed to the light and then rendered powerless. And that's what I'm doing when it comes to things that have hurt me deep in my soul, little by little, because it's a process for me. Things that was done to me that was supposed to break me, tear me apart, put me down for the count where I couldn't come back from. Those things are difficult to talk about, but as I speak out, even pieces of it, I no longer carry those tons of bricks on my back that weighed me down for far too long. And that's the purpose of doing what I did yesterday, is to take those bricks and burdens off of me and to throw them off so that I can walk upright and not feel the pain or damage from what was done. So I will be doing a little bit more of that on another day. But today we're going to talk about healing and the elephant in the room. So when we talk about this, healing may require that we address the elephant in the room. Because when we think about the elephant in the room, people go into a room, they pretend it's not there, that the elephant isn't there. Yet, as they pretend and walk around the elephant to the front, to the back, to the side of it, whatever, the elephant is getting bigger and bigger and growing to the almost to the point where there's no room for the people who are in that room with this elephant. Many of us have walked around the elephant. I know I have, pretending it's not there, tiptoeing around it, pretend it's not there, or perhaps made excuses for the elephant being in the room. In any event, whatever the case might be, to ignore the elephant in the room is to allow it to grow bigger and bigger, where eventually there's no room for anybody else but the elephant. Now, why are we talking about the elephant in the room? I have some notes here so that I can cover everything I need to. This is a metaphor that I use to describe problems that start out small, problems we may have with whomever or whatever circumstances that might start out small and grow in time when we choose to ignore them. They're not going to go away. They're just going to grow bigger in time. When we start to heal, to grow and evolve, and to self-care and to self-love, we also start to acknowledge that there's an elephant in the room. And we must resolve these issues so that it does not, while they're small, so it doesn't grow larger. Because these issues can grow so big to the point where they now become unresolvable. So we want to catch them early on. But many of us, including myself, have tiptoed around the elephant in a room because we don't want to disturb it. We can no longer tiptoe around the issues and the situations, especially as they grow and they affect our personal lives or space. Um, Worrying about if I address the problem, I might disturb the elephant, I might wake it up, it may roar at me, whatever the case is. Not addressing the issue can allow it to grow to the point of an eruption. Now there is no resolution to it. So now I know it is better to deal with issues in the beginning when they're small, address them, come to a understanding, a compromise, so that they don't grow into something unresolvable. And I used to pretend myself things when I had problems or situations, whether it was family, friends, work, whatever. Just let it go. It'll resolve itself. No, it won't resolve itself because all it's going to do is grow bigger and bigger in time. Um, why do many of us let these situations go, pretend it's not there, walk around it? Because for me, I'll tell you for myself, low self esteem, being subservient to others, and the number one problem for me is worrying about others disliking me or losing people out of my life. If I address the issue the way I need to. It is better, people, to speak your truth. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be sarcastic. And you don't have to be, out of character. You can speak your truth and be firm and have a conversation instead of living a lie just to get by. And I know what that feels like because I've done it for far too long. That video I made yesterday talked about me living a life that wasn't mine. When I talk about putting on somebody else's shoes, because it felt like since I was a child, I was walking in somebody else's shoes, and the shoe didn't fit, but people were making me wear those shoes anyway. So I ran in those shoes. They would fall off. They didn't fit. And I did everything, but it got to the point to an eruption where I can no longer wear those shoes because it was obvious to see that those shoes didn't fit me and who I am. So an eruption happened, and the eruption was one of being excommunicated out of an organization that I didn't fit in. And I talked about, how difficult it was and et cetera and so forth. But sometimes it is better to walk away from something, which is also a resolution, than to allow it to grow to a point of eruption. Because now it's far too gone to the point of no resolution, or the resolution is to walk away. When you speak your truth, you no longer live in the lie or the shadows of what others want you to do. And it's a hard pill to swallow, people. And I, in therapy, I wiggle and twist and was so uncomfortable with this discussion with my therapist when I first started to open up about what it was that I was doing, and to allow people to take advantage and to treat me like a doormat. And it stems back from childhood, being part of something that I had no choice in a matter, but because family was involved in it, grew up into it, and then realized, hey, these shoes don't fit. I'm not comfortable in this. But trying to be a people pleaser, a family pleaser, trying to do what others want, but twisting myself inside and out like a pretzel to do so. Until one day it was suffocating me to the point where I had to get out. Have any of you ever been in that situation? If you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And in order to get from A to B to C, people, you got to do the work to heal. Because if I didn't do this work to heal and I wasn't continuously doing this work to heal, I would have never, ever seen myself, first of all, be on YouTube channel talking about these things. I would never do this. I'd be terrified, or to anybody else. But therapy, which was the first place I started, was therapy, helped me that in order to grow, heal, and evolve, I have to have an outlet for those pains, those hurts, those childhood wounds. Because I grew up in a house, what happens here in this house stays in this house. So there's no outlet for the pain because there's no speech about it. There's no resolution, but to pretend that the elephant isn't in the room. And this topic, even though it's not as difficult for me to talk about it now as it was then, but the therapist I have is he's really has ways, in time to get me to look in a mirror and see what's working and what's not working. And in time, I had to look at this. Why do we not talk about things? No matter what in life, people, whether it's a business setting, a marriage, a relationship, romantic or family or friendship, problems and situations and circumstances are going to come up because this is life. Nothing is perfect. But being able to have an outlet, and one outlet is communication, having a voice, being able to speak and say, and you don't have to be out of character to speak about things. You just have to speak from within on how certain circumstances have hurt or made you feel, and et cetera, and so forth. And, you know, what hurt you, what didn't hurt you, or what made you uncomfortable, et cetera, and so forth. And then, both parties say their side, and then you come to a compromise and understanding. And sometimes people, the understanding or resolution is to walk away. I know in my case, as I started to grow, heal, evolve self-love into self-care, I started to speak up for myself, something I've never done most of my life. This is how I feel. This is disrespectful. This I'm not accepting. This do not bring to my table. We need to have blah, blah, etc. And it started with boundaries because that's where my therapist started with me. Everything I was talking about, all the pain and hurt and etc., set boundaries. And as I start to set boundaries and learn that they were being disrespected and saw that they were being disrespected, I start to see that I needed to have a voice to speak up, to talk about, what was hurting me. As I did this, when the parties involved showed me they didn't give a damn, then at that point, I would cut off, block, and delete. And believe it or not, people, that sometimes that's the resolution. It may not go that far depending on your situation and circumstances, but for me, a lot of it was cut off, block, and delete and walk away. And as I started to heal and understand, it didn't matter too much for the family part because I was shunned, because I was excommunicated from a um, religious setting that I had no choice in a matter because I had to go when I was a minor child, 6, 7 years old, and then grew up into it, and then realized late, in my early 20s that this is not for me. And now today, I am a better person, believe it or not, for everything that I've gone through, because what does not break you will make you strong as hell. And number one is, if God is for you, then who can be against you? When you have God and you reach out and you ask Him to help you, for some reason, He gives you the voice to do what you need to do. And for me, having a voice to speak about things that bothered me, I didn't have that, people. Terrified, because the way I grew up is like women, especially in that setting, is to be seen and not to be heard, you know. And like I said, putting my foot in shoes that don't fit who I am. I have always marched to a beat of a different drum. And as I tried to twist myself inside and out like a pretzel, it wasn't working. And, when people talk about, like I made a comment about someone who does not work at my job, but is affiliated with the same type of work, and tried to befriend me. And I find out that she's part of this organization. And it's like, lady, what are we doing here? you know. And you may see me in that light, but God does not. And I know who I am today. Thank you very much. And you take care. The old version of myself would have been terrified to do that. But as you grow and heal and do the work, people, you will start the self love, self care, and stand up for yourself. You will find that voice, find the shoes that fit you and your purpose in life. And when you are there, no one can take that away from you. When you self love and self care and take care of your physical and mental health, it doesn't matter what anybody else is trying to say. That's noise. Noise that you no longer have to listen to. You no longer have to adhere to. You know, and a place to start is therapy. And one of the things I can say is that setting boundaries has helped me tremendously as well, because it shows me who is for me and who's not for me. And when people start to step over, hop, skip over the boundaries, disrespect them to the utmost, then I have no problem to cut off, block, and delete, and I don't look back. At first, it was scary for me, because you start holding up 10 hands, right? And then the numbers start to get to the point where you're almost down to a zero. But then I start to do a pro and con list to see what were they bringing to my table. I know what I was bringing to their table, but let's see what they're bringing to my table. And sometimes that's necessary to do a pro and a con list. It doesn't matter what they are in your life. What are they bringing? And if, you got 1,000 cons and 2 pros, then it's time to look at this. I mean, for me, that's what I had to do. And then set boundaries. And the disrespect of the boundaries was the last straw. Cut off, block, and delete. In the beginning, I used to cry about it, but as I grew stronger in prayer and with God and learning that I matter, just like all of you guys matter. You guys matter. And if your needs are not being met and you're not being respected, set boundaries. People, what I found out about the boundaries, people don't like boundaries, but it's necessary, because when you're in a place where you have to protect your physical and your mental health, that's everything. That's a priority, whether they see it that way or not. And it used to bother me how people saw me, because I'm a person about love and light. I've always been that way since a child, about diversity and inclusion of everyone, because we all matter. And some people don't see it that way. Some people feel entitlement. And then I start to learn that None of us in human form are entitled to a damn thing. It is by the grace and mercy of God that we even exist. If God said, you know what, tomorrow's your last day, there's nothing you can do about it. Tomorrow will be our last day if that's what God chooses to do. So, what entitlement is there? So when people, love is the answer. Love is the highest vibration of all. And when you learn to look at people and love them as they are and accept them as they are, that's the greatest thing there is. You know, we are all different in so many ways, but similar in others, you know. And when people learn to love, and you know, everybody is not going to like everybody in this world, you know, and that's understandable. But hate cannot outweigh love, no matter what people are trying to say or do. And I choose the love and light. I choose God, love and light, and to help others as well as to help myself. Pay it forward, because when you can help somebody to do better, and you can save somebody, better yet, because you don't know how many people out there are suffering because of this message I'm talking about today. You know, they could be going through a lot of hell and they don't know how to have a voice. They're trying to walk in somebody else's shoes and don't know how to walk into their own shoes. And because of it, they're experiencing all types of hell and, you know, everything that create despair. A kind word, a gesture, 5 minutes of your time to talk to somebody. There's a lot of times that I'm out on errands, just like earlier today, just talking to strangers, because you can be helping somebody. I could be helping someone too, because you don't know what's going on in the mind mentally of that person, because everybody don't talk about what they're going through. They could have something that stressed them to the point where, hey, they don't want to be here anymore. Your kind word or gesture or motivation or uplifting that person could save their life. You know, and that's priceless to me, because I know what it is to have been in a place of depression, like I talked about yesterday, you know. And we need to uplift in a world that's full of darkness, where people just care about, I got mine, you get yours, I don't care kind of attitude. And this is why I choose to set boundaries. And if I have to cut off, block, and delete, I don't feel no kind of way about it, because before I got to that point, I set boundaries, conversation, etc. Then that's the last straw, because peace of mind, inner peace, peace of mind, inner peace is everything to me. Protecting our physical and mental health is everything, because without that, we can't take care of ourselves or anything else around us. You know, let us uplift. Let 2025 be a year where we help one another, because we don't know what this year is going to bring. But yet, if we band together to uplift and to unify instead of division and tearing down, we can make a difference. We can make a difference. Like I always say on this video, it is better to be at a place of inner peace than to be broken down into pieces. Let's help people, because when you help others, you're also helping yourself as well. That's the message today, everyone. Please share this message with others. Let them come to this video, because some people really need to hear this message. It may resonate with them. And, you know, invite others here. Subscribe to the channel, because every day we're going to be talking about something that coincides with healing. You know, and maybe if something didn't resonate with you today, maybe it will tomorrow. But every day is a new day, and we talk about things that we need to in order to help others. Thank you all for being here. This is Lisa, shedding love and light, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Have a good Thursday. Bye for now, guys.